Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Stock Durbar by Team William O'Neill. So, our head of research, Mayuresh Joshi, and my colleague, Wakar and Rajshekhar, we all will be handling the session today. So, as always, first we will start with the basic macros and the Nifty setup. Plus, then we will move on to some sectors and discuss some details about those sectors as well as the a technical setup. And then after the first 15 minutes, the floor will be open for you guys for Q&A. So we are ready to start. So first, if you see the Nifty setup over here on the daily chart, the good part is it has reclaimed its 21 DMA. So it has been a very choppy market since it has formed that bottom of around 17,774. वहां से अगर देखे तो for few sessions it tried to move higher, but it found a strong resistance in that 250 to 300 zone, and especially just near its 50 DMA. So the red line you can see over here is the 50 DMA, and the green line over here is the 21 DMA. तो 50 DMA पे रेजिस्टेंस था, उसके बाद 21 पे रेजिस्टेंस मिलने लगा. But the pink line over here, you can see this one where Nifty found support, that is the 100 DMA. So Nifty was able to get some sort of support near its 100 DMA level, which was a bit positive for the market. And for last couple of sessions, there was a very good rebound in Nifty and it moved about its 21 DMA level. But now the important point is to see that if Nifty can move about the 18,200 level and then the 300 level. So why I'm discussing 200 over here is because if you go on a weekly chart over here, then the red line over here is the 10-week moving average. So yes, the 10-week moving average, that is the 10 MA, is somewhere around 18,210, if you can see over here. And on the daily chart, if we see the 50 DML level, then that level is somewhere around 18,300. So you want that level to move out of that resistance of that level. जो 200 के 300 के बीच में एक resistance है, वहां से ऊपर जाके अगर निफ्टी होल्ड करता है, then that's very important. So first thing to note over here is we are already in a rally attempt because this was the potential bottom. यहाँ पे 760 का low था, and from there we were able to manage 3 days of closing above that level. So we are in a rally attempt, that is RA. So first, most important thing according to O'Neill methodology that we look is the follow through day, that is FTD, which is 1.5% gain on a volume higher than the previous session. If this happens, then that's very positive for the market and the status will be shifted to a confirmed uptrend. उस situation में the buy switch we will be turning on. But mark over here guys that sometime it happens that follow through day थोड़ा late आता है. Like यहाँ पे भी ऐसा हुआ था. So before that एक मार्केट रैली के फेज से चला जाता है, some 4-5% early gains that market gain before the follow through day. So we don't want to miss that opportunity. So two things to see over here. Once we are above this 210 level, which is the 10-day moving average, our focus will be on the watch list stock and we'll have eye on all the potential breakouts, the stock that are forming a base, जो क्वालिटी स्टॉक है जिसका आरएस लाइन ड्रॉप नहीं हुआ है, जिसका प्राइस वॉल्यूम एक्शन इज पॉजिटिव, नॉट ओनली द प्राइस बट द वॉल्यूम इज हायर ऑन द अप डेज. जब वो नीचे गया था तब मूविंग एवरेज पे सपोर्ट मिल गया था, लो वॉल्यूम पे नीचे आया था. ऐसे जो भी स्टॉक है वहां पे हमारा फोकस रहेगा. एंड एज सून एज दैट 200-300 जोन इज टेकन आउट, वी विल टर्न ऑन द बाय स्विच. Right, the buy switch will be turned on and gradually, in a very careful manner, we'll be starting to add stock and will be more aggressive once we see a follow through day. एक बार follow through day का confirmation मिल जाता है, then our confidence on the market will increase a lot. But in such type of choppy market, not to miss that initial 3-4-5% of the gain, you turn on the buy switch when the 50 DMA, the 10-week moving average is reclaimed. But yes, I would clearly mention that the volumes are very important as far as the stocks are concerned, as far as the market is concerned. You don't go for a poor earning stock or the poor growth story. No, it's not the matter. The best quality stock according to O'Neill shortlist, that's where we will try to park our money at that point of time. But yeah, still we reclaim the 200-300 zone, need to be very careful. We will be out of the market. So that's as far as the Nifty is concerned. That's important. Yes, on the downside, if someone is looking for level, then this 18,000 level and 21 DMA, जो green line है, or 100 DMA, which is somewhere around 17,800. These two are very important level to watch out for. If we breach again, और फिर से अगर यहाँ पे correction low एक नया बनता है, so in couple of months, if it becomes third time कि यहाँ पे low नया बनता है, then you might see some sharp fall in the market and we might test the 200 DMA, the black line, that is the 200 DMA level. 17,200, 300, 17,200, 300 के आसपास वो हो जाएगा. So we are, moving towards a very crucial event for the India. So our budget is going to be declared on the 1st of the February. So as we are going towards the budget, so a lot of macroeconomic, changes will be done. As of now, there is a lot of thrust on the infrastructure. You have seen that there is a strong recovery in the private capex, and we are having a steady consumption. अगर consumption का broadly देखे तो urban is far better as compared to rural. जो inflation का impact है वो rural जो consumption है उस पर थोड़ा बहुत है, तो वहां से उतना recovery नहीं है. So there might be a lot of focus on the budget on these conditions. They might continue with the infra push, and so next week we will be coming out with our budget preview report, and we will be sharing with all of you guys. So those who don't have alert for our mails or those who are not receiving our emails, please let us know, our marketing team. So you will get the budget on the emails, on the notification on the app. Also, we'll be sharing it on our Twitter and other social media handles. So you can subscribe there also to get the report. Okay, so now if we move towards the sector thing, so let's take Nifty Auto first. So we'll take some 4-5 sector guys, and then we'll be moving towards the Q&A. Okay, so if we look at the Nifty Auto, so after making a high 6-7 months back, it is moving sideways. There is no major action as far as the autos is concerned, right? Even there has been some relaxation as far as the supply chain concerned. जो semiconductor का concern था, जो 21 end में था, 22 beginning में था, वहाँ पे थोड़ा बहुत problem अभी कम हो गया है. So it's not that those things are the major issue now. जो इंडस्ट्री ने एक विटनेस किया था कि सप्लाई चेन का डिस्ट्रप्शन वगैरह, so that has been eased. सेमीकंडक्टर चिप का इश्यू भी अभी उतना नहीं है. टू थिंग्स, फर्स्टली एक जो पीवी और ट्रैक्टर्स के सेल होते हैं, ठीक है, वहां पे काफी सारा इंप्रूवमेंट हो गया है इंडिया में, एंड इट हैज क्रॉस द न्यू पीक. बट द प्रॉब्लम इज जो सीवी और टू व्हीलर का है सेल्स है, दैट इज स्टिल लो. आई थिंक अराउंड 15-20% बिलो जो 2018 के अराउंड एक पीक हुआ था ऑटो सेक्टर में, ठीक है. तो सीवी और टू व्हीलर का जो अभी भी सेल्स है वहां से 15 से 20% डाउन है. So some improvement over there, and these things might be getting addressed in the budget, because we know the financial minister will also be knowing that yes, this is the problem that's going in the auto sector. और वो specifically जो rural से demand आनी चाहिए two wheeler की वो नहीं आ रही है. Overall, lot of things are changing. So SUV market, EVs, that's the new trend as far as the personal vehicles are concerned. EV theme play out हो रही है. There might be some indications around the electric vehicles as well. Overall global भी shift हो गया है electric vehicle की side, so that's important for the sector. But yes, overall if you see the technicals, अभी भी ये 50 DMA के नीचे है, consolidate कर रहा है, so need some strength. यहाँ से अगर 50 DMA के ऊपर sustain होता है, then the top quality stock among the auto sectors can be looked at. Now if we look at the bank, which has been a good strong thing as far as the year 2022 is concerned. So जून में जब इसका लो बना था, वहां से एक एक्सेप्शनल रैली हमको देखने को मिली है बैंकिंग सेक्टर में. So see, the balance sheet of the banks are in good shape. जो एनपीएस है, स्पेशली पीएसयू बैंक्स में ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम था एनपीएस का, वहां पे काफी इंप्रूवमेंट हुआ है. द एनपीएस आर नाउ लो एंड द बैंक्स आर हैविंग अ वेरी strong capital adequacy ratio. So overall, the things are looking quite well as far as the banks are concerned, and that has been seen in the very good rally in the banking stocks. I think the PSU index is almost double, and even this private banks have shown a very good. अभी जो results भी आया, जो Q3 का updates हुआ था, I think most of the major banks have reported the result as far as the private sector is concerned. So वहाँ पे आपने देखिए काफी सारा improvement देखने को मिला है. And even the private capex cycle, which we started today's discussion with, so that is also doing well. The credit जो growth हो रहा है वहाँ पे भी काफी सारा improvement है. And overall it has been a fundamentally the banks are in a very good shape. And let's see, the technically अभी ये 50 DMA को breach किया है, but देखिए यहाँ पे consolidate कर रहा है. ऐसा नहीं है कि 50 DMA breach करने के बाद वो crack हो रहा है. यहाँ पे एक 50 DMA के 1 to 2% नीचे जस्ट अगर आप देखें तो एक टाइट एरिया सा फॉर्मेशन बन रहा है. इट्स ट्रेडिंग इन अ रेंज, तो रेंज बाउंड ट्रेड हो रहा है यहाँ पे. So once we see that the Nifty bank moves above that 50 DMA level, we might see some improvement in the sector, as well as it will have a positive impact on Nifty as well. Other theme I think which is going very well nowadays is about the capital goods. So the government spending, which is the last budget में भी जो focus था government का जो spending पे, उसकी वजह से capital goods, the railways, the metro project, waters के बहुत सारे project है, airport वाला चीज है, तो उसकी वजह से capital goods में काफी improvement है. The government के side के capex भी improve हो रहे हैं, private side के capex भी काफी सारे improve हो गए हैं. Now if we look at the FMCG index, so this has been relatively stable. कुछ मेजर इतना हेडविंड टेलविंड नहीं मिल रहा है. सो व्हाट आई डिस्कस अबाउट द रूरल एंड अर्बन कंजम्पशन, अर्बन में there's no major issue, but yes, the strength should come from the rural side to support the sector. Last 1 year inflation काफी सारा था, तो उसकी वजह से lot of products, lot of companies price hike भी हुआ था. वॉल्यूम ग्रोथ जितना चाहिए उतना अभी भी वो मिल नहीं रहा है, mainly due to the rural consumption is not that strong. Plus जो रॉ मटेरियल प्राइसेस है वो भी हाई थे लास्ट ईयर, सो उसकी वजह से थोड़ा मार्जिन पे भी इम्पैक्ट आ रहा है. बट हाउएवर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स हैव बीन पास्ड ऑन इन द प्राइस. सो इट द सेक्टर इज आल्सो अंडर द कंसोलिडेशन प्रोसेस. अगर आप देखें तो ऑलमोस्ट अगस्त 2022 से it's almost 6 months that the sector is moving sideways, and it is trying to hold its 100 DMA. अभी 50 के जस्ट नीचे है. So over here also the 50 DMA becomes very important. So guys, now technical levels बहुत important हो गए. Since last 10 minutes whatever we have discussed, Nifty का देखिए, sectors का देखिए, everywhere we have seen this, that the sector stocks index are at a very crucial level as far as the technicals are concerned, and that needs to be improved. Okay, if we quickly look at the Nifty IT, when the results of sort of IT companies are out, almost all the major companies are out. That has been a decent one. No major miss over there. So you can see it has reclaimed its 50 and 200 DMA, and since last many days, the sector has been doing good. See, most of our IT services companies depends 85% revenue from the US and Europe. And we have seen a lot of layoffs in the tech side. The tech budget is not that strong. So that's a negative sentimental impact on the Nifty IT. And that's why you might see that since last almost a year, it has been trading in that bottom range. यहाँ पे कोई एक major momentum नहीं आया है. एक बार यहाँ पे आया था, ठीक है, September to November वाली रैली में IT का, but then again we are not able to see it a continuation. So 200 DMA का अगर आप देखिए तो यहाँ से जब नेगेटिव गया मार्केट, सॉरी निफ्टी IT, so सिर्फ only once during the start of the December it was able to reclaim its 200 DMA, but it failed. And after that, now again in January, it has attempted, or it has retaken its 200 DMA. So let's see if sustained. Don't be too early to jump in, because relative strength जो RS rating है ना, सारे IT स्टॉक का बहुत खराब है. तो जो टेक्निकल डैमेज जब ज्यादा होता है ना, तब उसको रिपेयर होने में टाइम लगता है. So give that time to repair the technical damage, to improve that fundamentals, and then only you should try to jump into the IT sectors. Last one or two, and then we move to your questions. So if you look at the metal index, so a lot of things depends on the global price, especially driven by the demand supply in the China and the US. And so the main thing to understand over here is कि Chinese economy अभी फिर से ट्रैक पे आने लगी है. कोविड के बाद ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी में भी थोड़ा कंजप्शन इन्फ्लेशन एक प्रॉब्लम है, बट ओवरऑल जो सिनेरियो है दैट इज इम्प्रूविंग एंड द प्राइसेस हैव इंक्रीज. जो भी मेटल के प्राइसेस है फेरस नॉन फेरस के, उसके प्राइसेस बढ़ गए हैं, and that's the reason the index is trading near its high. So almost it is trying to move near the 7,000 level. You look at the leading stocks, the Tata Steel, JSW, also the other products, metal related stocks have been doing really well. So one important thing to understand over here is that see, China पहले डंप करता था, वहां पे प्रोडक्शन बहुत हाई था, ठीक है, मेटल्स का. स्पेशली द कमोडिटी ग्रेड जो भी मटेरियल्स होते थे वो लोग ग्लोबली डंप करते थे, उसकी वजह से प्राइसेस में काफी ऊपर नीचे होता था. बट नाउ द न्यू चाइनीज पॉलिसी, वो लोग क्या अभी उनका फोकस क्या है पता है? दे आर नाउ फोकसिंग ऑन वैल्यू एडेड प्रोडक्ट्स. जो ये कमोडिटी को डंप करने वाली चीजें अभी वो उतना नहीं कर रहे हैं उनके एनवायरमेंटल इश्यूज की वजह से. उनका जो पूरा एक स्ट्रेटजी शिफ्ट है फ्रॉम कमोडिटी ग्रेड मटेरियल्स टू वैल्यू एडेड मटेरियल्स, ठीक है. उसकी वजह से वो जो लो प्राइस पे मेटल को डंप करते थे वो काफी सारा बंद हो चुका है. एंड दैट्स द रीजन लाइक द इंडियन कंपनीज एज वेल एज द अदर companies globally have been a bit on a relaxing side, and they are able to get a good EBITDA margin as far as the metal companies are concerned. And overall अगर demand robust रहा, चाइना का reopening proper है, तो you will see that the demand might continue as far as the metals are concerned. Last we take pharma and then we go to your questions. So yeah, this index been doing nothing since long. Overall इसका trend negative है. You can see 200 DMA, 50 DMA सारी नीचे की तरफ जा रही है. And since last one or 2 year it has been gradually moving lower. ऐसा कोई sharp fall नहीं है, but it is not moving higher. मेनली क्या है, इनका बिजनेस यूएस यूरोप पे डिपेंड होता है, अपनी कंपनीज का काफी सारा एक्सपोर्ट पे डिपेंड होता है. एंड देयर दे आर नॉट गेटिंग द सफिशिएंट प्राइसिंग, ठीक है. एक तो डी स्टॉकिंग हो रहा है यूएस में, ठीक है, एपीआईस का भी डी स्टॉकिंग हो रहा है. सो 22 was calendar year was not that great as far as the pharma is concerned. प्लस जो उनका कोविड वाला बेस हाई था उसके कंपेयर में भी इतना अच्छा नहीं है. बट इट इज एक्सपेक्टेड 23 में कैलेंडर ईयर में देयर माइट बी सम रीस्टॉकिंग ऑफ एपीआईस. प्राइस भी यूएस में इंप्रूव हो सकता है, थोड़ा इनका मार्जिन डिमांड सारा सिनेरियो इंप्रूव हो सकता है. So let's see what happens. But here also a lot of technical damage need times to repair. 50 or 200 के नीचे है, so need to give some time to these sectors. Okay guys, so the floor is open for your questions. Please do not repeat it too many times because then it becomes a junk. So just post it once. We will try to answer as many queries as possible. Me, Mayuresh, Vakar and Rajshekhar, we all turn by turn will try to answer as many queries as possible. Thank you.
Thanks, Rishit. I'll take few queries now. Already we have some queries coming in. First, there is one query on mid-cap and small-cap index view. I'll take that and I'll move on to stocks specific queries. Okay, shall I share my screen, Rashid? Hello everyone, my name is Rajshekhar. I will be taking few queries now, stock specific, and I'll start with mid cap and small cap view on these indices. This is a mid cap 100 index taken from MSI website. You can see here the index is also trading similar to the Nifty structure. Currently, it is trading below its 50 and 100 DMIs, which are very close. Actually, if you see, both the levels are around 31,300 and 600 levels. Currently, index is also trading near those levels. So it's very tricky situation for the overall market. All these indices are trading near their moving averages. Anything can happen if there is any good positive outcome on the any which is a budget which is happening in the February. If there is any positive outcome, definitely these indices will reclaim their moving averages and will advance further. But if there are any misses on the budget regarding the from the market perspective, definitely these indices will come back to their 200 DMS and try to find support in those levels. So currently, it's a wait and watch game. Actually, because there is no major macro news coming out. Uh, However, stock specific earnings are coming out. Earning season is started. So there will be action on the stocks specifically, but on the macroeconomic front, we need to wait for the budget and let the market decide how the budget is presented. I quickly take a small cap index view as well. Again, the stock small cap has been underperforming when compared to Nifty and mid caps. You can see the index is still 18% off highs, whereas Nifty is around 500 points less than the all-time high. But this index is nearly 18% off highs, which is considerable underperformance compared to Nifty. Again, if you look at the index placement compared to the moving averages, it is pretty similar. All the key moving averages are converging at this point because there is not much action happening on the index. So all these indices are getting converged, and the index level is also near its key moving averages. So again, this index might test its 200 DMA, which is another 1.6%. So it's not a major uh, difference between the price and the index. So 1.6 is not a major absolute number. So small cap also moves higher when compared to Nifty movement. So that can happen within a day or two. On the upside, we have good amount of overhead supply on the small cap index. Again, the budget comes out positively. Definitely, these small caps, if they join the rally, they'll definitely give you to the overall market, and lots of breakouts will happen, and which will be probably getting successful. Um, Queries related to budget theme, we are coming out with a budget preview, which will be out very soon. You can read through our report and to get an overview and sector expectations which are expected uh, in the budget, which will also be explained in the report coming out. Coming to stocks, I'll take a few stocks now. First, I'll start with the Alkyl Amines. Alkyl Amines, which was a very good wealth generator for the investors. If you look at the long-term chart, that is weekly chart of this elements, you'll get a view how the stock has done in the last 2 to 3 years. Starting from 2019, the stock has advanced sharply. In 2019, it was trading around 260 rupees. Currently, it is trading 2600 rupees. So 10x advancement has happened. In between, it advanced more than 10x, but recently there is some sell-off happening in this stock. This is not specific to alkyl elements. Specialty chemicals have been under pressure, and lots of its peers are also taking sell-offs. Currently, the stock is trading clearly below its moving averages, nearly 7% from its 100 and 200 DMAs, which is considered not a positive sign according to our view. Fundamentals are still intact, but the technicals have deteriorated sharply because of sharp underperformance of the stock compared to the general market. You can see EPS is at 85, which is still intact, but the RS rating has deteriorated to 27, and RS rating, you can see it has been sharply falling, going lower, which is not a positive sign on the technical front. So even though the stock is looking good on the fundamental side, but the technicals are not looking good for the stock. So definitely, the stock is not in a good zone, and it is a non-tradable zone at the current moment. I'll take some of queries now. HCL Tech. Tech companies have come out with their results of their December quarter results. The stock is currently forming a stage one flat base, and it is right forming the right side of the base pattern. And volume on the right side is also very good, which indicates a very constructive action happening in the stock. A positive sign on the base formation front. Fundamentally, also the stock has been doing very good, and rating is very good at 83, indicating a very strong performances of this stock. In the current earnings, they have reported very good set of numbers. EPS has grown 22% and sales have grown 16% in the December quarter, and the growth rates have been intact when compared to the previous quarter's earnings. And other key rating, that is number of funds which are invested in the company. It's a major leading IT company, so the number of funds invested are also very high, and still the company is able to attract new investors, institutional investors for this stock, so which is a positive sign. But the only thing is that because of slight underperformance, the RS rating has come down recently. That is acting as an hindrance on the canceling methodology. However, the stock breaks out from this base pattern and the market structure improves by the time it breaks out. Definitely a very good candidate for the addition.
Thanks, Raj. There are 2-3 queries about the power sector, especially PFC, REC, power grid. I will take that.
Okay.
We can start with PFC.
Rushit, I was about to mention that, so I'm so sorry to interrupt. I just take one question which Abhay is asking. This is the latest one. What is the best expected theme in this budget? Do you think banking and finance will dominate? So Abhay and folks, I mean, as Rajshekhar pointed out, we'll obviously be coming out with our note. You'll just have to wait for that. The team has already started working on that, Rushit, Rajshekhar, Vakar. So 2-3 things that are emerging right now. Next year, around March, April will be the general elections. So I think a lot of the capital tendering activity, by capital tendering, I mean a lot of the activity related to orders, whether it's related to housing, roads, infrastructure, will not get announced in that proportion. That will get announced probably in this quarter or over the next 2-3 quarters. We largely go into a silent period before the general elections. I think a lot of pre-ordering and a lot of pre-tendering will start happening. Now, if you look at Panray, and as we have promised, every month we are going to put in the chart for sector rotation graph that probably happens. So capital goods, stroke utilities, infrastructure, energy. These 3 themes were playing out or are still playing out very, very effectively. Will earnings hold up for them? They should. Will there be significant capital allocation when it comes to the budget? From a budget perspective, though it does not have a huge amount of significance, capital allocation will happen for a lot of these sectors. But the major important part is, will orders start coming through thick and fast over the next 2 to 3 quarters? Because of all these conditional factors that I mentioned, absolutely yes. Is there a risk in terms of input prices again inching higher, specifically steel prices? They've actually touched $750 a ton. Now, Prashant Belur, I think, had a question on the O'Neill methodology and why we are not entering into steel stocks. I think Rushit mentioned that, Prashant. So I think if we get over this barrier of 18,200 on the Nifty, which is the 10 weekly, and it sustains there with reasonable volumes, we will put the buy switch on. If the stocks within the metal universe are in that universe of the pivot zone that we always speak and keep harping about on the O'Neill lens, Tata Steel is still in the pivot zone, SAIL a tad bit higher, JSW Steel a tad bit higher, but numbers are there. So 7 days before numbers, we do not do any activity as a boring rule again. So again, if it is there in place, what has really transpired over the last 2 days is contracts for China steel, HRC, which was $520 a ton a month back when we hit the year end. they have scaled back to around 620, 630. Now, the latest news on steel mint is that they've actually touched prices of 750 or 795. Now, one may say that it is an entire reopening process of China. Absolutely true, where restocking is happening. But the other angle also that is going to emanate is that all the input prices are going higher. Now, iron ore prices from a low that it hit a few weeks or a couple of months back have inched up to $125 a ton. Coking coal prices are going through the roof as we speak at this point of time. Scrap prices are expected to increase. Pellet prices are expected to increase. If you look at Chhattisgarh, stocks like Sarda, Godavari, if you track their movement, those prices have started showing a significant higher rate just in a matter of a few weeks. So that momentum might continue if this has to sustain. But for a lot of these commodity consumers, right, there can be a lot of issues also going forward. So one quarter, I think when the prices were low, they might have restocked reasonably for a quarter or two. But if prices start inching higher, they probably need to pass through these prices. So as a space, looks very interesting. As a space, from a budget perspective, capital goods stroke infra, which basically means a lot of capital expenditure on infra development, rural urban housing, port development, road development, and therefore these EPC, specific EPC players, a few of these large leadership stocks in infra like L&T, Siemens, we are all be looking at that, right? Are looking relatively better placed. L&T obviously is a tad bit higher from the pivot levels, but let's see how numbers come out and if it scales back to its pivot levels. Hopefully, when the time for addition comes, when the buy switch gets on. The second element obviously becomes is a lot of allocations are going to happen towards green energy. The government is pretty focused on that in terms of targets that it has set out from a 2030 perspective. So green energy will remain definitely in focus. So energy as a theme, as I said, even on Panry is appearing. A few stocks away from pivot at this point of time. But if you look at a lot of PSU stocks, to the likes of NTPC, Power Grid, Coal India, a tad bit away from pivot levels. But again, there can be moves if right announcements are made for this sector. And all these companies are making the right noise in terms of investments towards renewable as a space. Continuing with that, waste and water management can also be a good theme going forward, because that is one theme that is expected, in my opinion, to take a significant share in terms of budgetary allocations. It might not be in absolute terms a large share, but I think even if an allocation increases on a year-on-year basis, I think that can be a good theme: renewable stroke, waste stroke, water management. Third, rural, and the focus towards rural, because the elections are going to be a year and 2 months after the budget is there announced this year. A lot of emphasis will again be led on rural India. I hope it is not too popularized, because if there are a lot of popular schemes that come through in terms of subsidies or otherwise, the markets might just react a tad bit adversely. Again, announcements related to capital markets, we have all been hearing about it. Capital gains ka kya hoga, holding period mein tweak hoga, ya tax rate mein tweak hoga. Let's see what the budget brings up, but that's causing jitteriness in the markets as well. So I think rural, outside the budget also, MSP increases is something that I expect will keep on periodically happening, specifically before the Kharif season. The Rabi output will be anyway out in the next month or two. But before the Kharif season, I think there should be a substantial allocation or an increase in MSP prices. So large allocations, again, as I said, capital goods, infra, large allocations will happen towards defense. Unfortunately, a lot of stocks within the defense space, the large stocks which had moved, we had added stocks like a Mazda as an example, or even an HAL, are significantly in higher bases. If I'm not mistaken, either in stage 4, stage 5 in certain cases as well. So I think definite pullbacks are required, but a large allocation will also happen towards defense as a theme. Financials have moved significantly, so a lot of gestation has probably happened within the space. So very, very selective where there are key breakouts that are happening and breakouts which are sustaining, right? So very important to track that in terms of both the canceling parameters as well as breakouts which are sustainable based on key volumes. So financials as a space has done exceedingly well, but from here onwards, I think it's only going to be the strong breakouts which might probably work. So I think this is generally the fine print that I just wanted to speak about. Wait for the budget report. We should get that out. Rushit Rachikar by around 26th of Jan, 27th. That's what our target is,
Yeah.
right?
3627 is the target. Yeah.
Yeah. So around that time. Yeah. So let's see how it goes. I'll get back to the queue, but this is something that we just wanted to discuss. Thanks. Rushit, sorry for that, but you can thank.
Yes, okay, we can start with power grid. So Mayuresh gave some idea about that power sector allocation. So there lot of the capacity generation, the transmission side में काफी सारा budget allocation हो सकता है. The power infrastructure is very crucial. So not only the focus will be on the renewables, but non-renewables, both the sector will be equally in focus. So power grid, if you look, it's going through a consolidation phase. Since last 4-5 sessions, look at the volume. अच्छे volume पे accumulation हो रहा है. It has reclaimed its 50 DMA as Rajshekhar is indicating. Now it's just closed at its 200 DMA. So tomorrow will be an important session to watch out for if the stock can move above that 200 level. वहाँ पे sustain होता है या नहीं होता है. So that will be a crucial point to watch out for. But yes, overall, Rajshekhar, can we take PFC? See, PFC also has been a outperformer in this recent time when the market is going through a rough phase, and all these a lot of budget expectations, the improvement over there. So that बहुत सारे projects stuck हो जाते हैं. PFC is the main financer as far as the power projects are concerned, and काफी सालों से काफी सारी चीजें, especially the money is getting stuck over here, and that's why the PFC is not able to perform. But now there are a lot of expectations that कि जो पुराने portfolio से पुराना जो पैसा फंसा है, that there might be a very good resolution as far as the things are concerned. The government will be focusing on improving the asset quality of the power finance, and they will be, the smart meters are coming, the transmission will be in focus. So a lot of budgetary allocations will be given to these sectors, and there might be a window or some plans to for the resolution of these issues, and that's why the PFC, Power Finance Corporation, is also in the focus. It's trading in the ideal buy range. We have our eye on this one. This was the part of our watch list, but unfortunately we are in a downtrend to rally attempt. So we are waiting for the buy switch to turn on. Otherwise, look at the ratings. Excellent. ROE 17% है इसका. EPS above 80, price strength above 80, buyer demand is very good. You can see the blue dots over here. That means the relative strength is at an all-time high for the stock, the 52-week high. So that's excellent setup. और जब भी ये right side of the base में relative strength new high पे चली जाती है before the breakout, I think 2-3 weeks, then that's the very good indication for the stock. It is trading well above its key moving averages. 21 पे 50 पे अभी support लिया था जब handle बना रहा था तभी, and now it is trading in a ideal buy zone. And you can see last 4-5 sessions से जब भी ये sideways move हो रहा है तो volume drop हो गया है. ऐसा नहीं है कि selling हो रहा है या कुछ problem है, but yes, after that run up, it's taking a breath. It's a breather zone, and yes, it is trading in ideal buy zone. So once you get some good volume action, अगर market वो 18,200 300 वाला zone निकाल लेती है, and our buy switch is turned on after that 18,200 and sustaining above that level, in that case, this is our part of watch list. So next, I can make one more. Yeah, Polycab we can go for. So it reported a result today, and the result was good. It was above estimates on all the front. So the earnings as well as the margin improvement for the Polycab was very good, and that's what is getting reflected in the stock price. The stock was up around 2 to 3%. So you can see from April to September, October, it had formed a cup with handle base, and after that it tried to break out, but it failed, and then it dropped and found support near its 200 DMA, and it's forming a stage 1B flat base. So this is a positive setup. जो base on base setup होता है, we have some learning articles related to it. So you can go to MarketSmith India learning articles. So why this base on base is very good structure. So स्पेशली जब भी ये सेकंड बेस फॉर्म होता है ना, 1B, वो छोटा सा फ्लैट बेस, और वहां पे अगर की मूविंग एवरेजेस 50 या 200 के अराउंड सपोर्ट मिलता है, then that's very positive, and that's what has happened in Polycab India. So there was some sharp fall last month, but now it again found support near 200 DMA during that fall, and it is now moving higher. So the result was good. Need to give some time to improve the price strength and buyer demand, क्योंकि वो थोड़ा poor है. Once that improves and the stock is back to an ideal buy zone, we can classify it as a re-breakout after a good result, and that's always strong for the stock. So this can be the part of the watch list when the market improves or when the stock is moving back to its ideal buy zone.
Prashant Vakario, can I take some queries?
Sure.
Yeah. Raj, can you give me the chart for some banks now? People have been asking about banks as well. So we'll go first with Federal Bank. Yeah. So Federal Bank was there in our model portfolio sometime back before the markets went into downtrend a couple of months back, and as you can see, the stock has been coming up with a very good set of numbers in terms of their in terms of the NIM expansions, in terms of the NI growth, in terms of the PAT growth, in terms of asset quality improving for the bank. If you can see, the stock has been on a rally mode from the 104 levels till now. The only point that probably happened was that whenever the stock, when the market came under some kind of sell-off, even naturally the stock also came under some kind of sell-off move below the 50 DMA, sometimes below the 100 DMA as well. And if someone is probably holding the stock at this moment, can continue to remain to hold the stock. And if you have probably will have a good gains if you would have added around the pivot around 31-32%. And probably if the stocks moves below, I mean, you can see last time the stock found support, last couple of times found support near the 100 DMA mark. So if you can hold it around the 100 DMA, if it sustains below the 100 DMA and falls below the 100 DMA on volume, I would probably suggest you can move out of the stock at that moment. Till the point in time, you can continue to hold it, because as you can see from the William O'Neill parameters, that the number of the fund holding has been consistently improving quarter on quarter. If you talk about the fundamentals that we were talking about at the moment, the EPS strength is really great at 94. The price trend did come under some kind of pressure, as you can see in the last 1 month or so, where the stock is moving in a sideways direction. But you might never know. It's like it's consolidating around the 50 DMA mark. 50 DMA is a very important line for the institutional investors as well. So if probably the stock rebounds from here, can move in a higher trajectory as well. Raj, the other stock we can look at banking is IndusInd Bank. Yeah, very similar to what we saw for Federal as well, but you can see that this one is forming a cup with handle base, stage to cup with handle base. Again, the stock is probably moving around that 50 DMA, 100 DMA mark, which is like at this moment it's above the 50 DMA. So it's currently closed above the 50 DMA. So 50 DMA is still acting as a support for your the bank. And probably what you are saying that in terms of the buy switch, again, if you look at the ratings and everything, it's good in terms of the EPS strength is good. Your price strength is fair at 72, but you can see like a move of 6% is still required to break above the pivot. If we talk about the fund holding is improving. All the other parameters are probably ticking in for the stock. It's just probably the move from the pivot. Probably someone would have bought at the earlier breakout, or if because this breakout, if you look at never never succeeded. It never went above the 1273 mark. As you can see, that's the pivot. It's never went above that. So at this moment, so the buy won't have been possible. And again, if someone would, people who are following the William O'Neill perspective, we have been into downtrend and rally attempt for last couple of weeks now. So the buy switch for not just for us, but the people who are following us should be off as well. So let's probably, even for new purchases, let's wait for the buy, at least if not for the FTD first, let's wait for the buy switch to turn on. That is the 18,200, 18,300 levels. If we go above that, then probably all the good stocks that are probably satisfying the canceling parameters are breaking out well, are holding above their key moving averages, can be considered. Raj, can you give me AU Bank as well, like one more banking stock? Let's take this and finish it off for the banks. Yeah. So this stock like has been moving in probably a very sideways direction. As you can see, what Raj pointed out that it was a stage 2 base, but as you can see, it's a stage 2F base. So probably like in the stock never moved more than 20-25% upwards ever out of a breakout. So that is not a good sign, as you can see. And plus, you can see the RS rating for the last 6 to 8 months. You can see the RS line has been moving downwards. The RS rating has been deteriorating. So even with good fundamentals, you can see the price strength very poor at 47, which is not a good sign. Plus the buyer demand as well. So the buyer demand is also very poor. So probably if I mean the stock is below all the key moving averages at the moment and below 10% to pivot as well. So if the stock probably has to come to some kind of I mean an ideal buy zone as well, it has to do very good amount of price volume action, not just price, but like reclaiming key moving averages on good volumes is probably what would require. And this time, probably from an 2F stage, a successful breakout is what probably can save the stock. Otherwise, maybe like there is some kind of overhead supply pressure on this stock. So as we can see at the moment.
Thanks, Mukar. I'll take a few queries now.
Okay. Okay.
Godfrey Phillips, I think the question was asked a couple of times. The stock is looking very good both on fundamentally and technical parameters. You can see recently in October it has broken out from its large cup with handle base pattern, and since then it has moved sharply higher, and it has found rallied by holding its 21 DMA. There was some sell-off near this area where it breached its 21 DMA and tested its 50 DMA, which was successful. Again, the stock is coming slightly off highs, and again, it has found supported its 50 DMA, which is a positive sign. So definitely, the stock, if you are tracking this stock, definitely 50 DMA is a very crucial level for this stock. And if you have this stock in your portfolio, you can keep a couple of points below 50 DMA, and if the stock sustains below those 50 DMA, definitely it's time to exit. Otherwise, if the stock reclaims 50 DMA within a intraday or then the next session, we might expect another fresh 10 to 15% advancement from the 50 DMA. On the O'Neill parameters wise, it is looking very strong. You can see EPS of 96, indicating very strong earnings. Earnings which has reported by the company quarter on quarter, it has been reporting very good set of numbers both on sales wise and on the profits wise. Technically also the rating has been very good, and it has also hit blue dots in the last couple of months. It has hit many times. The blue dot formation is a very crucial sign that the stock is making very good advancement, and technically the stock is improving. So that shows by the formation of blue dots. Buyer demand, another key technical rating is also very good at EA, which indicates whenever the stock is going higher, it is fine. It is having good amount of volume. That is, the buying volume is on the higher side. When you compare on the selling volume, again a very positive sign. If you look at because whenever the stock is rallying higher, there is very good demand for the stock among the buyers. Whereas whenever the stock is falling, there is no major demand among the sellers. They are not able to demand high price, low price for the stock. One more is Ircon International. Again, fundamentally a very strong company. You can see fundamentally the stock has been doing very good. PS is at 88, indicating a strong uh, earnings profile for the company. You can see both the sales and EPS have been growing in higher double digits, around 30 to 40% on the sales front, and EPS is also growing at 30, 40, 100% year-on-year basis. A very strong case for the growth company. Recently, it has broken out from its stage one base pattern, which is a cup base pattern, which is a very wide base pattern, and the volumes during the base formation has also dried up significantly. Very in the stock forming base pattern, we would want the
Raj, your voice
look
is
ahead
breaking.
for no major action.
Raj, your voice is breaking.
Sorry,
Your voice is breaking, Raj.
okay.
Raj,
Now is it fine now?
yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. I'll quickly wrap it up this one, and again, you can take a couple of
Yeah,
queries later.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Okay. After breaking out, the stock has advanced nearly 20%, and again, it has come under pressure. Most of the gains have given up by the stock, and it came back to its pivot from the previous base, and it is forming another base pattern, which is a stage two consolidation base currently. And the stock has very good support at its 50 DMA as well. It has been tracking 50 DMA, which is a very positive sign. So if you have this stock in your portfolio, definitely a couple of points below 50 DMA can be kept as stop loss, and if that level is breached, you can exit the stock. And if you are looking for a fresh entry, now is not the right time. The stock needs to advance nearly 9% from the current market price. And if that happens, definitely market structure will also improve by then, and our price which also will be turned on, and it will definitely be a very good contender for the edition.
Yeah, thanks, Raj. So can you give me the chart for SBI Life? Yeah. Thank you. So yes, the stock is forming a consolidation base. Last time as well, it did form and flat base. Yeah, and wasn't able to break out successfully. If we talk about the last few days movements, I mean, they did came up with their monthly and their quarterly updates in terms of their APs and the premiums in terms of the monthly premium data, and that was pretty positive for across life insurance companies, and similarly for your SBI Life as well. And if we talk about the fundamental rating of the stock is pretty strong as well at. Can you show me the rating, Raj? Yeah, it's 86. 86 is pretty good. But what's probably the change that's happening for the stock is that if you look at the current right hand side of the base, it's just 1% to pivot. And you can see at the the RS line is moving higher. Your RS rating is improving, and that is a really good sign. And if you could look at the volumes as well, apart from one or two big red bars, you can see only big blue bars happening when the stock is moving higher. So that is a really good sign for the stock if you look at it. But yes, I mean, considering the previous breakout as well, when it wasn't able to sustain above. So let's see if the stock breaks out at this point in time, if it's able to sustain above the pivot or not, because this time it kind of looks better. Plus, if you but again, I just looked at the result date. The result date is in the next couple of days. So yes, so any 4 to 5 days prior to the results, you don't take positions into the stock, so that results can positively or negatively impact the stock. So let's wait and watch how the result comes in. Let's analyze the result data, and post that if the stock is able to sustain above the pivot, and the buy switch gets turned on, market is able to sustain above your 10 WMA or 50 DMA, then probably the stock can be looked at as well. Okay, and the other we can look at is APL Apollo. So again, a stock very close to the pivot. And Raj, can you show me the again what earlier we were talking about the flat. I mean, it's like the stock has just been moving sideways for some time now, and it's a second stage flat base, but sub base of E, that is means that the stock hasn't been able to probably move above the 20-25% mark for the last 5 to 6 times it probably tried to break out. Otherwise, if you look at the parameters in terms of EPS strength, buyer demand, everything is fair, but probably the price strength is what the stock is unable to get. If you look at the last 3 to 4 basis, if you try to analyze it, or at the time of breakout is just not able to break out. Even if it breaks out, it's not able to sustain above the pivot levels, and it moves back into the base. And that's been the problem for this stock last 3 to 4 times. So let's see if we're very close to the base and probably is forming very similar thing at the moment. Last time it tried to, even in this chart as well, it tried to break out, but again a very bearish and reversal candle it formed around the pivot in terms of today's action. Raj, can you take a couple of stocks, and probably we are near the end of the session, and yeah, finish
Fine,
off.
I'll take a couple of queries and I'll close this session. We are almost at 5:30 now.
Yes.
Mallikarjun has asked about will there be any Nifty rally before budget? For the benefit of everyone, we were as part of general research, I was looking at the Nifty's movement before budget and after budget. If you look at last 10 years, there is no definite rally happening before budget or after budget. Sometimes there was good advancement, and sometimes there was on Nifty declining 4 to 5% before budget. So there is no clear rule that the Nifty will definitely advance before budget. So there is definitely we should not take it as a 100% that there will be rally happening before budget, and the post budget movement will definitely depend on the budget announcements. If the market finds anything positive on the positive front, they will take it as a positive, and uh, stocks from the leading sectors and the leading stocks will definitely will be rallying. They are getting any beneficiary direct beneficiation from the budget announcements, and there are any misses by the government, then definitely Nifty might come under pressure. So there is no clear indication that Nifty will move before the budget or Nifty will move higher after the budget announcement. So don't keep any pre-assumptions that rally is about to happen. Just to go by what the market says, and go by the price action from the Nifty and major indices, and as well as leading stocks. If the price action is very good, definitely the breakouts will be happening across the sectors, and probability of breakouts getting successful will also be higher. Right now, I don't have exact figures for how the Nifty moved in the previous years, but definitely if you do a 10-minute research, you'll get an view how the Nifty performed. If you look at the historical data, definitely you'll get an idea. But right now, I don't have any exact numbers. But the pattern I have observed, there is no defined rally which will happen. So don't take it as a presumption that rally will happen. Okay, I'll take some stock-based queries now. Mahindra RCI. Stock has done very good, even though the market is not doing well. This stock has outperformed the market clearly. It has broken out from its stage 2 cup pattern. A previous breakout was also very successful, which happened in July. The stock advanced very good, and again a very classic example of big winner. You can see after advancement of nearly 20-30%, again the stock has consolidated for a period of 1 or 2 months, and again it has broken out from stage 2. This is a very classic example of big winner. These are the common patterns which we observe in any big winner. A stock breaks out from a base pattern and advances 20-30%, and it will take a couple of weeks or a couple of months of time to consolidate to shake out weak investors, and again it will break out from the base pattern. You can see here also during the current base formation, the volume has been very low, significantly lower, which is a very positive and a very classic example of how the base formation should be happening. At this particular point of time, when the stock moving sideways and coming under some sell-off, only big hands have shaken out, not much selling from the institutional investors. This is what we need to look in any base formation. And in the right side of the base formation, you can see again a new set of investors, institutional investors have come into this stock, and they have given the stock very good buying momentum, and the stock broken out, and currently it is again 15-16% above its pivot. A very good example of how the big winner behaves in a typical market. But if you look at the EPS strength, it is slightly lower. It is 46 because for the December 2021 quarter, the company has reported negative growth rate in terms of EPS. That is weighing down the EPS rating. However, recently EPS profits have surged sharply, and the sales have also increased sharply. And if the company comes up with good set of numbers for the December quarter, definitely EPS rating will improve. On the technical parameters, as the stock is outperforming the market, RS line has been going higher, and it has formed blue dots as well, indicating clear indication of outperformance. If you have this stock in your portfolio, you can keep 21 DMA, which is the nearest moving average from the current market price. And if you have bought it from the pivot, most of your profits will be gone, but you need to give those profits to the market as well in sometimes, because if you are taking good risk, the reward will also be on the higher side. Next is Max Health. Stock has been forming base after base, and it's not able to break out and rally from those base patterns. Currently, it is consolidating in a stage 3C base pattern, and if you look at the recent price action, there is no clear indication on the either side. There is no momentum for the stock on either side. It has been moving sideways only, and it is trading near its 50 DMA. On the ratings wise also, it is not looking very strong. It is looking looking only fair wise. EPS is at 62 because June 2022 numbers are not so good for the company. Otherwise, overall, the previous 4 to 5 quarters numbers have been very good, but the June quarter definitely is weighing down the stock in terms of EPS rating. Price rating is also not very good because the stock has moved sideways. So definitely there is no outperformance of this stock compared to the general market. That's why you see the RS line is also moving sideways. If you have this stock in your portfolio, you can keep 50 DMA 4 to 5 points below 50 DMA, that is 1% from 50 DMA as a stop loss, and the volume on the selling day is higher. You can exit the stock. Otherwise, you can continue to hold it. I'll take the last query, and already we are 6-7 minutes past the scheduled time. I'll take one more stock, and I will close this session. Don't worry if your questions are not answered. We are only selecting stocks randomly. We are not taking. We are not. Well, we are taking only random basis. We are trying to answer as many as queries, but in every stock specific query, we are trying to analyze the stock from the only lens so that the viewers will get an overview of how the stock is analyzed by us, and so that you can also definitely look for the various parameters which we look, and you can take a decision on your own. I'll take the Carborundum Universal, which is a recent query, and I can also you can write to us on our email, and if you have any stock specific or any product related query, you can write to us, and our team will definitely get back to you to you on email. On talking about Carborundum, stock has formed a very large cup with handle base pattern. The duration is very large. You can see here. More than a year, 250 trading sessions, it has been consolidating. That is more than a year of period. It's not able to break out from the cup with handle. 955 is the pivot, and recently tried to break out on Jan 11th, but on the closing basis, it closed near the day's low. Again, a sharp resistance at the pivot. So that is why we always wait for the stock to give to sustain above the pivot, and also volume to be on the higher side. Then only we'll take a buy decision. Otherwise, we'll be waiting because these kind of actions will happen. Pivot will act as a resistance in most of the cases. If there is no strong buying from the investors, then pivot will definitely will act as a resistance, and stock will find selling pressure after reaching the pivot level. So always wait for the stock to sustain above pivot for a couple of hours and before taking a buy decision. On the ratings wise, the stock is looking fair enough for the addition, but slightly because of underperformance and long base formation, RS rating is at 64, and RS line is also coming under pressure. Fundamental ratings are also not so good because even though the growth, the company is able to report growing numbers, but the absolute growth is not higher, only single digit or lower double digits, which is not convincing growth happening in the stock. We want 20, 25, 30% of growth happening consistently on quarter-on-quarter basis. Okay, and if you have this stock in your portfolio, you can keep a 21 DMA as a stop loss, which is at 900 level. Couple of points or 4 to 5 points below 21 DMA as a stop loss, and you can continue to hold it until that level is breached. Thanks for joining everyone here. We hope most of the queries are research related queries are answered. Hope this is a very enriching session to all of you here. Thank you, everyone.